segment of the show where we talk through a lesson from A Course in Miracles. Today, we are on lesson 28 of A Course in Miracles, and we are going to start, as we always do, by going through a review of the previous lessons to help us understand how we built to today's lesson. Lesson 1, nothing I see in this room means anything. Lesson 2, I have given everything I see in this room all of the meaning that it has for me. Lesson 3, I do not understand anything I see in this room. Lesson 4, these thoughts do not mean anything. They are like the things I see in this room. Lesson 5, I am never upset for the reason I think. Lesson 6, I am upset because I see something that is not there. Lesson 7, I see only the past. Lesson 8, my mind is preoccupied with past thoughts. Lesson 9, I see nothing as it is now. Lesson 10, my thoughts do not mean anything. Lesson 11, my meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world. Lesson 12, I am upset because I see a meaningless world. Lesson 13, a meaningless world engenders fear. Lesson 14, God did not create a meaningless world. Lesson 15, my thoughts are images that I have made. Lesson 16, I have no neutral thoughts. Lesson 17, I see no neutral things. Lesson 18, I am not alone in experiencing the effects of my seeing. Lesson 19, I am not alone in experiencing the effects of my thoughts. Lesson 20, I am determined to see. Lesson 21, I am determined to see things differently. Lesson 22, what I see is a form of vengeance. Lesson 23, I can escape from the world I see by giving up attack thoughts. Lesson 24, I do not perceive my own best interests. Lesson 25, I do not know what anything is for. Lesson 26, my attack thoughts are attacking my invulnerability. Lesson 27, above all else, I want to see. Lesson 28, above all else, I want to see things differently. Today, we are really giving specific application to the idea for yesterday. In these practice periods, you will be making a series of definite commitments. The question of whether you will keep them in the future is not our concern here. If you are willing to at least make them now, you have started on the way to keeping them, and we are still at the beginning. You may wonder why it is different to say, for example, above all else, I want to see this table differently. In itself, it is not important at all. Yet what is by itself? And what does in itself mean? You see a lot of separate things about you, which really means you are not seeing at all. You either see or not. When you have seen one thing differently, you will see all things differently. The light you will see in any one of them is the same light you will see in all of them. When you say, above all else, I want to see this table differently, you are making a commitment to withdraw your preconceived ideas around the table and open your mind to what it is and what it is for. You are not defining it in past terms. You are asking what it is rather than telling it what it is. You are not binding its meaning to your tiny experience of tables, nor are you limiting its purpose to your little personal thoughts. You will not question what you have already defined. And the purpose of these exercises is to ask questions and receive the answers. In saying, above all else, I want to see this table differently, you are committing to yourself to see. It is not an exclusive commitment. It is a commitment that applies to the table just as much as to anything else, neither more or less. You could, in fact, gain vision from just that table if you would withdraw your own ideas from it and look upon it with a completely open mind. It has something to show you, something beautiful and clean and of infinite value, full of happiness and hope. Underneath all your ideas about it is its real purpose, the purpose it shares with all of the universe. In using the table as a subject for applying the idea for today, you are therefore really asking to see the purpose of the universe. You will be making this same request of each subject that you use in the practice periods, and you are making a commitment to each of them to let its purpose be revealed to you instead of placing your own judgment upon it. We will have 6 2-minute practice periods today in which the idea for the day is stated first and then applied to whatever you see about you. Not only should the subjects be chosen randomly, but each one should be accorded equal sincerity as today's idea is applied to it in an attempt to acknowledge the equal value of them all in their contribution to your seeing. As usual, the application should include the name of the subject your eyes happen to light on, and you should rest your eyes on it while saying, above all else, I want to see this blank differently. Each application should be made quite slowly and as thoughtfully as possible. There is no hurry. Wow. Well, good morning. There's a lot here in this lesson. Before I dive in, I just want to say a quick good morning to those of you who joined me here in the chat. I'll go hello from Ireland. Good morning. Thank you for joining. Brian Gorman, Pork Chalks. Good to see you. Ronak Kumar, India. Wow, that's so cool. I love, honestly, it's cool. You know, it really, really is. Someone from India, someone from Ireland. I'm here in the U.S. I'm sure that there's a lot of us coming from all over the world. And y'all, the reason why we're joining here today, the reason why we're on the Knowing Show this morning is so that we grow, so that we expand our own minds and our own ability to control our minds. Yesterday night, I was at dinner. For those of you who joined me on the Knowing Show, I was seated in my friend's guest house so that I would make the show time that I said I would. So they all started dinner. I came in and did the show. I walked out and they were all done. And I was like, I'll just eat here with you. It was so much fun. And it was a great time. And it was wild. You know, one of the conversations I had with a gentleman sitting next to me, his name was Peter, and he's actually writing, I think he finished his book and it's going to be coming out soon, around how AI is a mirror for us. And we were just chatting about his book, and he was talking about how much power we have given that we know how to master our minds. And I told him about what we're all doing every single morning here by going through A Course in Miracles and leaning into cultivating the ability to master our thoughts and understanding how what we think about, there's nothing neutral that we think about. Either it brings life or it sucks the life out of us. Either it's love or fear. Either it's true or an illusion. And nothing is neutral. And I think that for me, you know, one of the reasons why I'll do a review of all the past lessons is because it's a reminder for me of what we're building on. You know, I think it's lesson 7 that says, I only think past thoughts. Lesson 16 says, I have no neutral thoughts. And then to today's lesson, above all else, I want to see differently. It's simply about taking the practice periods, you know, actually implementing these new lessons, these new concepts, and practicing them, saying them to ourselves, dedicating time throughout the day to reprogram and repattern our minds so that now when we see something, we're just that much more aware. And I was speaking to the gentleman, his mom was with us last night, and I was just, you know, like, I was like, Peter, how did you become so conscious and how did you become so aware? And he was like, well, I think I've always been this way. So I was like, okay, well then, Mom, you know, how is it that you all live this way? And she said, I've just always been aware. I've always been aware, and I've listened to my intuition. And you know, it reminded me of the very first part of the definition of emotional intelligence. The very first step is the ability to be aware. And being aware really is that first. It's just like looking up and out. It's kind of like a prairie dog, I think, that will like pop its head out and like look around. And that's effectively what we're doing every single morning. We're just like popping up and looking around and being like, oh yeah, let me remember how much power I have over my mind. Let me remember how much power I have over my day, because this time that you and I take every single morning, or for those of you in India and Ireland and various different time zones, this is our time to pop our head up and remember. This is the time to pop up our head and actually learn something new, and then continuously do so. I mean, I have to set my alarm every single day so that I'm continuously popping my head up and being like, oh yeah, that's how I want to live. Oh yeah, that's who I want to be. Oh yeah, that's the way I want to think. Because it is so different. It's so different than the way the rest of the world talks. It's so different than the rest of the way social media talks. A lot of the talk that I hear that are inputs for me are more so victim mentalities or more so discouraging. It's just really, really negative. Well, frankly, that's not how I want to live. I want to live aware of the fact that today, January 28th, is such a precious and wonderful day, and we don't know what tomorrow holds. So let's let tomorrow worry about itself and live fully in our present surrounding, in our present world. I hope it's wonderful in India and Ireland. I'm not there, I'm here. I'm in, my home, and this is where I am today. And I bear the responsibility for where I physically am rather than looking at the news and looking at my phone. And yes, there's something around engaging to understand what's happening out there, y'all, but our chief responsibility is really over our inner world and what we can control, and not even just control, but what we can give. How can we serve and show up in our environment today? How can we really fill ourselves up so that we have overflow, so that we have excess, so that we've got an abundance to give and provide to our businesses, to our friends, to our families, to ourselves, so that we have something left over at the end of the day? There's a book called The One Thing by Gary Keller and Jay Papasan. And they talk about how every single day it's like a battery pack. We're a battery pack. We start with a 100% charge. And then as the day dwindles down, so does our battery pack. So does our energy. So does our willpower. We start out the day really committed to something, really convinced, like, this is how I'm going to live my day. I'm going to be focused. I'm going to live in alignment with who I say I want to be. I'm going to kill it. And then as the day progresses, we just get to more tired and more angsty, and all the pressures of the day come in upon us. And then by the end of the day, man, it's so hard to live in alignment with who we want to be. And it reminds me of my dad. My dad, God bless him, father of 6 kids, third generation business owner. It was hard. It was a painting and finishing business. So it wasn't like he was sitting in a cool office every day. He was like literally driving on work sites, meeting customers. It was intense, and every day looked different, and I think in our days looking different, there's a lack of certainty, which can actually kind of be a little bit of pressure. So it was a involved day every day that would take a lot out of him. So he would come back home at around 5 and 6, and he would actually go and lay on the middle of the floor and just take a power nap, so that when he woke up, he had something to give. So these breaks, these practice periods throughout the day, are our little breaks to just take a second and recharge, to hook up, like the phone into the electrical socket and get a little bit more juice, a little bit more charge, so that we've got something to continue to give. And it's our reminder to be present, to see things differently, because in us making that commitment to see something different, even if it's a small example, I want to go back to what she says here because it was really, really good. And frankly, it helped further unpack and help us better understand why we're doing this in the first place. Um, and the purpose of these exercises is to ask questions and receive answers. In saying, above all else, I want to see this table differently or this cup differently, you're committing to yourself to seeing. It is not an exclusive commitment. It is a commitment that applies to the table or the cup just as much to anything else, neither more or less. You could, in fact, gain vision from just that table if you could withdraw all your own ideas from it and look upon it with a completely open mind. It has something to show you, something beautiful and clean and of infinite value, full of happiness and hope, hidden under all your ideas about its real purpose. The reason why this is super interesting, this morning, I was talking to a dear friend, and he was like, why are we here? We are very existential this morning. And if we can't be curious around, oh, like, I want to see this cup differently. Like, just the simplicity of that, which at first blush feels really silly. But if we can't be humble enough to ask questions of really simple things, how then could we ever fathom asking questions of our own existence? And why, this other person, or this job, or our children, why are we here? Why do I have the privilege of loving you? Why do I have the privilege of raising you? Why am I entering into this job again? Same thing every day. This question, or this rather this lesson, above all else, I want to see things differently, removes the monotony, and it eliminates the lackadaisical approach where it's just kind of the humming and hawing and we're doing the same thing every day. But it allows for it to have new life to it. It allows for it to be something where we're curious and we're open and we're taught something new around today. Every single day has the ability to teach us something. So with that, I just want to jump back in the chat here. Manny, Emmanuel, good to see you. Thank you for coming on here today, and I appreciate you for being encouraging. Straight trolling. I love your name. Good morning. Thank you for coming on here, David. Bethel, thanks for joining. What's up? YKCIR 2000. I am real. um, IMA, good to see you. Thank you for hopping on here. Burger Sleuth, Ryan. Uh, oh, you know what? He's just said, Ryan says, I literally just saw this same live on another channel. I'm live two places. I actually have, for depending on where you're watching, I'm live on the Knowing podcast and then also on Christene Marie. So I am Christene Marie, and then the Knowing podcast is, and actually the Knowing podcast started as in-person interviews that I would have with guests, and then just decided to do the Knowing show in both places. Austin, good morning. Fabio, thank you for coming on here. Austin, Doom, good to see you. Just looking through Joshua Bryant, Edido, Johnson Island, Gary Donnelly, good morning. Thanks for coming on here. Fabio, I need all day. Andrew Dudley, I do have two streams. Mr. Bronstone, Union Ash, Dubstyles, good morning. Thanks for joining. Straight Trollin', my name is Christene Marie. James Warbley, MP Fine, is this an inspiration channel? You know, I would actually be curious for those of you who have been, I guess, kind of regulars on here. I'd be curious how you would define it. You know, I want us all to be really engaged in our own cultivation, our own growth. You know, Michelangelo was once asked, how did you sculpt David? So David is this beautiful and iconic, it was very iconic for his time, you know, the lines and the level of detail. Michelangelo was, you know, this incredible artist, but he kind of came into his own because he would dig up cadavers, which was very illegal at the time, and study the human body. And that's how he was able to make David. You know, he just like he was able to see effectively what the inner workings of a human being was. And so when he sculpted David, it was truly, truly iconic. And someone asked him, like, how did you see him? How did you do it? And he said the most beautiful answer. He said, I removed everything David was not. And so this is why we hop on the Knowing show. We're removing everything who we're not. We're reprogramming parts of us that frankly is outdated, old data, outdated systems, outdated programs. A lot of us are running scripts in our minds or scripts in our inner body based on experiences that happened to us 20 years ago. And that's not our present tense anymore. Someone mentioned this to me the other day, recently. I don't know if it was the other day, but they mentioned something recently to me. They were like, I want to not raise my son to survive my childhood. And I was like, whoa, like, isn't that so true? How many of us are raising our children to survive or exist in a childhood we did? Or how many of us are living really with programs of the past where we're not actually then free to live fully in the present moment? So I'd be curious for those of you who have been here for a bit, how you would define it. I'm just scrolling down. Charlie the Tiger, Depth Nose. Thank you guys for joining here. Matthew, good to see you. I'm glad you're here. Roger, David, John Matrix. Oh, this is so funny. John Matrix, that's funny. Um, I actually won't engage, but it's funny given what I know. Barris, good to see you. Medi, um, mm, straight trolling, D Money, Senth, Pat. This is not recorded. I am live. Good morning. Um, Mick Boltrin. Oh, I don't know why, but I just freaking love this question. What's best for breakfast? 2 Pop Tarts and a Monster Energy or Flamin' Hot Cheetos and Mountain Dew. I am totally Pop Tarts. And I don't really know about the rest, but 100% Pop Tarts. Sammy. Oh, Sammy, I'm so happy to see you. Sammy, okay. So for those of you who don't know, 3 mornings ago, we were talking on the A Course in Miracles show. I think it was 3 mornings ago. And man, Sammy P, and just for those of you, again, I'm live in a couple different places. Sammy P joins and says that today's the day of his anniversary of when he broke his neck and became a quadriplegic. And I stopped, I think all the guests stopped here, everybody attending, all of us. And man, Sammy, I just have been so inspired by you. And man, I've been so inspired by you. And I talked about you in the evening show. I talked about you in my Facebook posts. Like you really, I'm so inspired. You said, God bless your voice. I just got transferred into my wheelchair and I'm watching you with my nurses. Oh, I'm gonna cry. Please know your voice helps and you make a difference as I'm really struggling. Sammy, I am so proud to know you and so grateful for your example of not giving up. I cannot Sammy, being a quadriplegic is something actually that I've thought about a lot. And it's something that it's like, I don't know what I would do. And so I am so proud of you. And I think all of us here in the chat, for those of you who remember our conversation the other day, Sammy, thank you. Thank you so much for showing up and doing the work. If your nurses are there, good morning. Oh man. It's so meaningful to see people who are doing the work. All of us, every single one of us who are here. I'm so incredibly proud of each one of us. And I know that some of us are here for different reasons, but doing this work, it's completely changed my life. I felt like I lived as a phantom. I lived like just in reaction to who everybody wanted me to be. I lived trying to make everybody else happy. And I wanted connection. Connection was the goal, relationship was the goal, love was the goal, but I didn't know that in order to love truly and well, I had to, it takes 2 people, 2 whole people to actually have a relationship rather than just me sitting here trying to bend and appease and be the person, shapeshift to who they wanted me to be. And so I feel like I woke up 4 years ago, and unfortunately, it took a couple bouts of reckoning with brokenness to really wake me up. And we don't have to wait. I listen to Joe Rogan and David Goggins and these people that are just like really intense athletes or really intense just in the way that they exist in the world. And they're like, create your own arena, and Theodore Roosevelt talks about the man in the arena. So this is us creating our own arena to grow, to heal, to be better. I'm just looking back here at the chat. Swell, I went to it was like a classical high school with 5 of my siblings, or 4 of my siblings. I've got 5 siblings. 4 of us went, all 5 of us went together, 4 of my siblings and me. That was difficult. Joe Boy, thank you. I will take that. I appreciate that. IRVP 78. Straight trolling. God bless Sam. I agree, Sam. I freaking love you. Love from Australia, Sammy. Oh man, Scott the Rock. I was not expecting that, but I'm with you. Oh my gosh. Michael Grimes. Lanio. Thanks for coming. Loudspeaker. Love is all you need. That's so good. Rome wasn't built in a day. I know, God. I love that you said that, straight trolling. Like that's why we're here, is to do the work together, like day after day. I love that. Frozen noodles, yes, just for a little bit. Justin Williams, be yourself in a world that constantly wants to change you. I love that. I love that. Y'all, isn't that so true? And who are you? That's the question. The way that I really came to know who I was I actually had to return to so many of those moments in childhood where I learned to put on a mask or put on a new behavior to hide or keep myself safe. So it was like, oh yeah, who was I before I put the mask on? Who was I before um, I like covered up? Who was I before I started hiding? And what does it look like to shed that? And honestly, I had to learn who I was alone. So I actually took time to be alone for a bit just so that I could know who did God make me to be. I effectively had to eliminate all of the inputs, all of the noise, everything external, so that I could return to the integrity and the authentic me. And every single one of us not just has an authentic self, but each one of us has a reason why we're here. Each one of us has a purpose and a beautiful calling over our life and a reason, like a true reason. And I think that that's the pursuit of our lives is to figure out, why am I here? The question of why are all of us here? I actually, maybe there's one core universal, oh, this is why all of us exist. But I think each one of us has a very unique and particular why. And once we find that why, man, it's like the sky's the limit. There's a passion. There's a quote that I love that says, there's nothing more beautiful than a human soul set on fire. And so that's what we do on the Knowing Show, is to remind ourselves who we are, to come to know ourselves so that we can uncover the passion, uncover the why, and then, okay, then how then shall I live? Because that's the other question. It's like, oh, this is who I am. Okay, well then how am I going to live? And creating values that guide us, creating the targets of, this is what I'm aiming for, this is where I'm going. And then the values keep us headed on the right track towards that goal, towards that target, towards that end destination. So I'm just looking here in the chat just to check in. Vito, thank you for your note. I appreciate that. Discovering Divinity. Hello from England, London. Oh, I want to come to London. Actually, okay, so two things. I'm so glad you said that, because I actually would love for any of you who would like to do this. I am planning out my year. I actually have a couple places that I'm going to try to get some speaking engagements in, particularly in London in the fall. And then I'd love to host an event with whoever's in London. Just because, frankly, what's the point of doing all of this if we don't actually ever get to meet? I mean, there's still a lot of point there. But all that to say, I just dropped a form in the chat. If you go ahead and put your name and your email and then where you live, and then if you want to do something in person or virtually, I would love, love, love to meet you guys. I've done Ali Sonmi, Alice Sonmi, Cal. I'm sorry if I didn't say that right. Good morning. Thank you for coming on here. I really want to meet you guys, and frankly, I'm looking forward to doing more having more opportunities for us to actually like talk back and forth rather than just you guys in the chat and me on here. I also, this is the second thing, I'm doing a 61-day challenge that starts on Friday. So if anybody wants to join, we'll be engaging in a WhatsApp thread, but no trolls are allowed. So, because this is where we're actually going to do real work here. So if you're willing to do the work, I would love to have you. I've already met some of you. We did a meeting on Sunday where we just planned our one thing, and we did it in a workshop mode, and people were asking themselves hard questions. I asked myself hard questions, and then we really came down to kind of like our purpose statements. And just yesterday, I came up with my 60-day challenge and what that's going to be. And my friend was like, that's going to be really hard. So I'm like, yeah. And I've got people holding me accountable. So Yasir, thank you for coming on here. Good morning. Adul K, yum. I would love that. Bottles, thanks for coming on here. Marcel, oh, hello, Marcel. Good to see you. Y'all, thank you so much for joining tonight. This morning, it's not nighttime. It's dark outside though, so it feels like night. But thank you all so much for coming. I will be on, actually tonight I have a guest, which I'm excited about. We're going to be talking about forgiveness. It's a hard topic, and I think it's actually I was working out this morning, and that just felt really like what we should be talking about. So tonight we're going to talk about forgiveness and relationships at 8:30 p.m. Central. No, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Gizmo, thank you for coming on. Joe, um, Michael Grimes. Guys, thank you for coming on. I loved our conversation this morning. Sammy, I'm so proud of you. I mean, really, I think all of us here are just really proud. So, all right, y'all, have a wonderful, wonderful day. I will see you soon. Remember today's lesson. Let me just go back to that really fast. Above all else, I want to see differently. And again, doing these practice periods 6 times today is all about just reprogramming our mind to be open, reprogramming our mind to be curious, reprogramming our mind to ask, and then be open to receiving. Because if we're asking, but we've already assigned judgment, we're actually not open to learning anything new and gaining any new information. So, all right, y'all, have a wonderful day. I will see you tonight at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Remember, we only have January 28th that we know of. Let's live it so well. And